afternoon and welcome to our Weathervane Seafood Family Restaurant Game of the Week. It is Trinity and Windham. Division 4 semifinals here, Gill Stadium, Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm Pete Terrier, along with our videographer John Cassidy, bringing you more coverage on nhsportspage.com. This is a rematch of a game that was played just a week and a day ago, if we want to be real technical about it, when Trinity waxed Windham 42-7, and it was 42-0. This was running time throughout the second half of the football game. Then it came out after the game that Windham coach Bill Raycraft said, we may have not been trying really our hardest to win this football game. We rested some guys, not that we didn't want to win it, but we rested some guys. We knew that whatever happened in that game, the winner was going to get home field advantage. The only problem was Windham had been told before that even if they won and they had home field advantage, they weren't going to be able to play the game at Windham High School because of the field conditions at their place. So they would have had to find a neutral field, maybe even played the game here. So they elected to let up a little bit, maybe not put on the gas pedal for the whole 48 minutes of football, and Trinity certainly took advantage and looked like the better team that night. We'll see how it shakes out. The defending champs are going to come at you with a bunch of different running backs. They'll throw the ball if they need to, but most of the year they haven't needed to. Romeo Masuku, Ryan Carrier, Austin Chambers, just a bunch of different guys that can hurt your quarterback Carmen Giampetruzzi, and a real big offensive line. For Windham, they've been scoring a lot of points this year, except for the game against Trinity. They even put up over 20 against Plymouth, but they're going to need Joey Lorenz, they're going to need Canoni to do what he can do, Kevin Cooney, who was one of the guys that was really rested a lot during that game. Those guys are going to have to all step up really big. St. Thomas and Plymouth are playing in the other semifinal game, kicking off right at the same time this one. So the winners of these two games will face off next week. If Trinity wins and Plymouth wins, the game will be in Plymouth. If Windham wins and Plymouth wins, the game will be in Plymouth. If Windham wins and St. Thomas wins, who knows where the game is going to be, because as we said before, Windham's not allowed to play on their own field. Maybe that'll change next week, who knows. But looking for a good afternoon of football, and we'll bring it to you here on nhsportspage.com. At the half of our Weathervane Seafood Restaurant Game of the Week, Trinity and Windham Division 4 semifinals. Pioneers up on top 12-7, but by no means an easy first half for them. This Windham team that they beat last week 42-7 and we heard talk that maybe they weren't going all out Windham last week. It apparently is true, because this is a different Windham team that I saw 1 week ago right here at this very same field at Gill Stadium. Windham has run the ball right down the throats of Trinity. They did score the first touchdown of the game. Kevin Cooney, an 18-yard run, and the point after made it 7-0 Windham early in this one. That came actually with 8:34 in the second quarter. Windham up over 150 yards on the ground, running the ball with a variety of different players. Cooney, 71 yards in that score. Danny Cannoni with 63 yards. Thomas Anderson's chipped in with 14 yards on the ground. And the quarterback, Joe Lorenz, had a couple of runs yards as well. So far passing for Lorenz, 3 of 6 for 34 yards. Anderson's been his main target, has a couple of catches for 15 yards. But for Trinity, they got a couple of touchdowns late in the second quarter to take that lead. Ryan Carrier got them on the board with a 4-yard run. They went for 2, and the run by Masuku was stopped. So it was 7-6 Pioneers trailing the Jaguars at that point. Trinity got the football back and scored a late touchdown about a minute or so before the end of the second quarter. Austin Chambers doing the honors, 6-yard touchdown run. Trinity's done a good job moving the football as well. Not quite as much yardage as Windham so far, but the Carrier has been the big ball carrier for them. 10 carries, 47 yards in the touchdown. Masuku has 43 yards. Also had a nice 34-yard reception that set up the Chambers touchdown late in that second quarter. And Carmen Petruzzi, not usually a kid that throws the ball a lot. He does have the ability. It's just that Trinity is able to pretty much run at will on everybody. They've done a good job with that. But Petruzzi in the first half, 4 for 5 passing, 79 yards. So that's helped balance Trinity a little bit, and really is what has them in control of this. There's been a lot of penalties for Trinity in the first half. They had 4 called against them for about, I think, 40 yards. One of those they declined, Windham did, so really only 3 against them for 25 yards. Windham, to me, has played the better game so far, but somehow Trinity's up on the scoreboard, so the Pioneers have to be very, very happy about that. You saw the first half highlights. We got more highlights coming up in the second half. This one is going to be a good one. I think it's going to go down to the wire. Will those 2 failed 2-point conversion attempts by Trinity come back to bite them? Only time will tell. Reporting live from Gill Stadium in Manchester, it's the D4 semi between Windham and Trinity. I'm Pete Terrier for NHSportsPage.com. I'm standing here live with the victorious, some of the members of the Trinity Pioneers, victorious 20-13 this afternoon. D4 semifinals over Windham. We got Colin Bouchard, we've got Ryan Carrier, and the quarterback Carmen Petruzzi. And I'll start with you, Colin. Last week, you guys ran all over those guys, and it looked rather easy, 42-7, and it was 42-0 until they scored in the final minute or so. What was the difference between this game, where they really came out and took it to you guys, compared to what we saw last week?
I think we had a lot of adversity this week, especially with the storm and everything coming out. But we wanted it a lot. We had the heart for those two halves. We came out, and we came out after a deficit too, and we were able to come back. And I think there was a lot of talk on their side compared to us. We knew that they were going to talk it up so that they get in our heads, but we just didn't let it happen. And we came out and punched them twice. And I'm happy we're going to the chip, so it's all that matters.
Ryan, we were talking last week after this game, and you guys had a lot of confidence. You seemed like you were really focused, and they really leaned on you, and I'm sure they talked about it in practice this week, but I had you for 19 carries, 96 yards. You scored a touchdown. And was that something that you really wanted, to shoulder that responsibility and kind of be the go-to guy today?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being the senior captain, I try and put the team on my back and just try run as hard as I can every single time.
Did you feel like there was a little bit of a mano-a-mano between you and Cooney? I mean, I know it was on opposite side of the ball, and both of you guys play both ways, but it seemed like you guys were trading blows.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we're both number 44. It was just to see who the better 44 is, and I think we can answer the question.
And Carmen, you were able to throw the football. I had you 6 for 7 passing, $127, but it wasn't necessarily the stats. It was some of the big plays you made. You hit a big play to Thoreau for about 40 yards. You had another big play in a big spot in the first half. What was it about the way you guys were able to balance the run and the pass? Because, I mean, we talked about Ryan with the 96. I have Masuko for 95, and Chambers had 76. And then you with the over 125 yards passing. That really causes problems for their defense, trying to figure out what we need to key on.
Yeah, definitely. I got to give credit to these guys, because once they're running the ball successfully, the passing comes a lot easier. As you can see, the safeties, they're coming up corners, trying to stop this guy and their big line. But so they're coming up on the run, play action, and the pass will be open.
I remember talking to you guys, a little bit at the other part of the stadium, Queen City Jamboree. Temperature was a lot different back then. And Colin, when we talked back then, I know the focus on was getting back to the D4 championship game and defending that title. Now that you've had that regular season, 1 playoff games in the book, what is the mindset now going into that game? We don't know for sure if it's Plymouth, but it looks like it's going to be Plymouth. I think everybody expected it to be Plymouth, but got to get your thoughts on that situation now when it's right in front of you.
I think we just need to play fast, physical, focused, and violent, just like our coach always tells us about. I think if we come out with the same intensity that we had the past 2 weeks, always bring it a little bit harder than we did, because we came out a little bit soft today. If we hit it and we do it the way we do it, we will win.
And Ryan, what about the way you guys went up there and they really took it to you? I mean, they controlled that game. I know you guys made some mistakes, but is there one thing or two things that you really have been sticking in your craw since then? You said, we know we got to fix this thing because we know we can beat these guys. What would those couple things be?
I mean, it comes down to it. We didn't come to play that week. We know that. I guarantee you it's going to be a different story when we go up there again. We're ready. We're ready to go.
And Carmen, finally here, when you're looking at the situation, last year you were a young quarterback, really didn't have to be a team leader. This year you're growing, and now you're a junior quarterback, and you've had some experience here. How does that change your mindset going into this game, knowing that you have a couple of championship games experience under your belt?
Yeah, I mean, last year I was kind of nervous going in there. That was my first championship game, but this year, I know what to expect and how to get ready for the game, because, with the win last year. So we just got to come out, play tough, and win a ship.
And it looks like we're taking a ride up 93 to Plymouth next week, the land of Lenahan. Thanks so much, Colin Bouchard, Ryan Carrier, Carmen Giambatruzzi. Trinity moving on to the championship. Steve Burns, head coach of the Trinity Pioneers, first-year head coach. Coach, it seems like even though you just went through your first regular season, you've gained a few gray hairs there.
Yeah, I think I had a few to begin with, but they've definitely multiplied. Actually, during the regular season, I went to get a haircut, and my barber said, "Oh, you're getting a lot of gray hairs there, Coach." I said, "I'm going to blame the boys," but a few of them are for good reasons today. The kids played hard. They fought all day long, and I told them I don't like any of them because they gave me some high blood pressure and some gray hairs today. So, yeah.
What was the part where you were the most nervous? Because it looked like in the first half they were the better team, but somehow you guys were up 12-7 at the break. When were you the most nervous?
Right before kickoff. No, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous waking up in the morning. We knew they were going to be a good team. We knew they were going to come out. They were going to fight. Backs were against the wall and everything. And I can't say more nervous than any other game. I believe in my kids. I believe in them. They fight. They scrap. They believe in me and everything. And I had faith in them that they were going to pull it through. I'd say normal nerves.
Now, you talk about how you believe in your kids. That's quite obvious when you're going for it on fourth down and whatever from your own end. I mean, you just have to have the confidence that you're going to pick it up. I remember when Belichick did that for the Patriots against the Colts back, everybody was like, he's crazy, but if you get it, you look like a genius, and if you don't get it, people are questioning your moves.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're high school kids. If you don't believe in them, they're not going to believe in you. And we tell them that all the time. Hey, I'm going to go for it on fourth down because I believe you guys are a good enough team. You're going to get it. You're going to make the smart choices. You're going to make your blocks, and you're going to get after it. So, just try to call the best game I can to put them in the best spots, so that they can win a game and, they can have some success and enjoy, some wins.
And a lot of the calls tonight were directed for number 44, Ryan Carrier. I had him for 19 carries, 96 yards. Not a lot of times a Trinity back, because you got so many guys that can carry the ball, are going to get 19, 20 carries a game. It's usually kind of spread out, but you really made a decision that you were going to pound him today, huh?
During the course of the game, sometimes I don't even know which back is getting the ball. I'll make a play call, based on what we're seeing and based on, the defensive scheme and, trying to get to certain areas. And, Ryan has been a workhorse for us for 4 years. He got some carries and everything in a championship run his freshman year. And just a kid who he fights. And if I try pulling him out of games, he wants to fight me. I didn't even realize he had 19 carries, but he's a kid who deserves that. He works hard. He loves the game of football and everything. And I believe in all the guys, but they believe in Ryan. A lot of times they'll say, just give it to the horse, and he'll get it. So sometimes it's more, trust in the person than in the play call.
Well, and it also helps when you got some balance offensively. Normally, a lot of times you guys don't need to throw the football because you're just running it right down people's throat from a bunch of different carriers. But in this case, Carmen Giampetrucci, I had him 6 for 7, $127. And when I was talking to him, when we were talking with the players, I kind of said to him, it wasn't so much the number of yards, but the way he hit the row on a big 40-yard completion that, kind of set you guys up in real good spot. You had another big pass play. How much of a help is it when, you can throw the ball and put the ball in his hands and he's going to make good decisions?
Oh, it's huge. We believe in, Carmen, G as everybody calls him. He's a smart kid. He's not, 9 times out of 10, he's not making a bad decision. Nobody's perfect. But, we use the run to set up the pass and everything. And, if we can get those safeties to cheat up and then we can pop something, it makes life easy. We believe in all the guys. Carmen's just a smart kid. He's run that team, offensively since he was a sophomore. So he knows what's going on. We spend a lot of time talking with stuff and looking for holes and everything, and so he understands what's going on. So it does make life easy because okay, hey, be smart with the ball. Put it where it belongs, and he's going to do it most of the time.
All right, $1 million question: how are you guys going to be able to go up there and beat Plymouth next weekend?
Well, you beat a team by scoring more points, so we're going to have to get in the end zone more than them and keep them out of the end zone so they don't score more points than us. Other than that, we've played each other 5 times in 3 seasons now, and 2 teams, that, very similar, line up with a lot of, big boys and guys who like to run the football and everything, and, that's the way you win football games in New Hampshire in November, so we'll see. I think the team that comes to play, is, going to win. And, it's always tough going up 93, playing those guys, at home where they're comfortable. Chuck's won, 356 games, I think, now. And, they're going to be a well-coached team. We're going to have to play a perfect game in order to beat them.
It's going to be a lot of fun next week, Trinity and Plymouth for the D4 championship, seeing if the Pioneers can defend their D4 title. Head coach Steve Burns, thanks so much, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete.
20-13 in our Weathervane Seafood Restaurant game of the week, the D4 semifinal. Trinity moving on to take on Plymouth in the championship game next Saturday at the Land of Lenahan. Talk a little bit about Windham. The Jaguars moving up. They were the runners-up last year in Division 5. They moved up to D4, got the number 3 seed. Definitely represented themselves very, very well and showed that they could play, showed that they were a legit program and a program that is going to be a force to be reckoned with around the state of New Hampshire for many years to come. Head coach Bill Raycraft doing a great job. He got some great efforts today from specifically a few players that I want to name. Kevin Cooney, outstanding fullback, 17 carries for 96 yards. I thought he and Danny Canoni doing a nice job keeping those chains moving for Windham. Canoni finished with 20 carries for 94 yards by my count. I think the biggest difference in this game was Trinity able to run the ball pretty much as well as Windham was, but Trinity had the edge with the passing from Carmen Giampetruzzi, Joe Lorenz, the quarterback for Windham. A mobile quarterback and normally has some decent luck throwing the football, but today I had him 5 for 11 for only 50 yards. So to me that was a big difference where Windham needed to make a play through the passing game. They just couldn't do it on a consistent basis, and I think it hurt them. After the game, we threw our microphone and our camera in on the post-game interview session with Windham coach Bill Raycraft, and here's what he had to say.
We know how potent they are on the ground, and we felt that if we could catch a break and maybe put them into a situation that they're not used to doing, we might be able to get a pick or drop ball or something. And they executed. I mean, they're a good team, so they deserve to take that ride up 93.
After a week like last week, to come out on that first drive, you didn't get points, starting at your 3, moving the ball the way you did. Was that kind of a confidence builder for you at all?
Yeah, I mean, we had a fantastic week of practice. I took a lot of questions about, how do you get them ready after a beatdown last week, and there was none of that from Monday. I mean, Hurricane Sandy helped us out. We get to have some fun on Monday and do some meetings, and then they get to practice. But from Monday on, we were full of confidence. I don't think there's any coach or any player didn't think we were going to walk off this field winning.
Bill, how about the seniors? I mean, the senior class that you guys have, their last game.
Especially anytime you say goodbye to a senior group and stuff, but this is the group that were freshmen when we came and played that first year varsity, just freshmen and sophomores, and we took some beatings, and to gather as a group. This is the tightest group I've ever coached. They're brothers. It's just amazing, and I'm going to miss these guys a lot.
How about the 4th down call, Bill? Was that a tough play call?
Which one? Here? It was. The one going down here, we have a couple plays for short yardage. We rolled the dice a little bit and thought maybe they would bite with Cooney because he had been running the ball, so we ran a G keep. But they played it well and came up a little bit short. But I would do that again. It was a situation where I think it could have been there.
The fake punt?
Earlier in the first half, the fake punt. The wind was picking up. Joe didn't feel comfortable kicking at that point, and I agreed with him. So we had a couple options, and if I can put the ball in Kevin Cooney's hands, I'm going to do it 10 times out of 10. And we just came up a little bit short. The couple plays before that to get a penalty and back us up, that didn't help.
Bill, how about the whole thing with moving up from a division and being in the playoffs and playing in the semifinals in Division 4 this year?
The big picture, we're very happy about that. The kids won't understand that right now, but hopefully they can reflect back and say, you moved up a division, 3rd-year varsity, and here you are. There are a lot of naysayers, and I think there are a lot of people that put a W next to Windham, and we opened some eyes. So now, like I just told these seniors, they raised the bar awfully high.
That was Windham's coach Bill Raycraft talking about the end of his team's season. Trinity moving on. As we said, they're going to take on Plymouth. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. Plymouth blew them out big time in the earlier meeting this year. It happened in September. Both teams much different. The weather conditions are obviously going to be much different. I'm looking for a real good football game. Who's going to win this game? I would think you have to give Plymouth the edge, but if anybody can knock them off, it's certainly Trinity can do it. For our videographer, John Kesty, I'm Pete Terrier signing off from Gill Stadium as Trinity knocks off Windham 20-13 to advance to the championship game.